go to our next speaker, who is a further defender of human rights, who is Mr. Thierry Valle. He has been an active advocate for human rights for more than 2 decades. He has extensive experience concerning freedom of religion and belief around the world. He organized numerous symposiums on religious freedom in France between 2000 and 2013. The most notable of these was Religion, a Republican Anomaly. The late socialist and historian Émile Poulain took part in this event. Thierry has been as a participant of Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, for the last 10 years, speaking on issues relating to freedom of religion and restrictions on human rights as they relate to anti-terrorism laws in Europe. He has also written numerous reports for the OSCE. He is president of CAP Liberty of Conscience, an NGO with ECOSOC consultative status. Thierry also took part in the European Platform for Fundamental Rights, for which he has made numerous reports on violation of religious freedom in Europe. Without any further delay, I give the floor to our next speaker, Mr. Thierry Valle. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for MEP Martucciello to organize this conference. Thank you to Manel to invite me and to give me the opportunity to take the floor today. As a specialist in religious minorities, I would like to give a general overview of the issue of religious minorities in Iran. The Constitution of the Islamic Republic of Iran recognizes Islam as the official state religion and mandates that the country be governed based on Islamic law, Sharia. While the Constitution grants some protection to recognize religious minorities, it also imposes limitations on religious practices and expression. The largest religious minority in Iran is the Shia Muslim community, which constitutes majority of the population. Other recognized religious minorities include Christian, Jews, and Zoroastrian. These minority groups are afforded certain rights and protections under the Iranian constitution, such as the freedom to practice their religious rituals and elect their own representatives in the parliament. However, there have been numerous reports of limitation and restriction on religious freedom in Iran, particularly for religious groups that are not officially recognized. Religious minorities face limitations on their religious practices and freedom of expression. Conversion from Islam to another religion is also restricted, and individuals who convert will face severe legal consequences. Freedom of expression, including religious expression, is also curtailed in Iran. The government maintains control over religious institutions and closely monitors religious activities. Iran is notorious regarding religious persecution, particularly towards religious minorities, and those who deviate from the official state interpretation of Islam. Those who question or challenge the official interpretation of Islam can face persecution, imprisonment, or even death, with the infamous anti-blasphemy law. Muslim religious minorities, such as Sunni Muslims, have faced discrimination and limitation on their religious practices. They often encounter challenges in building and operating their mosques and face societal prejudice. Religious minorities such as Christians, particularly converts from Islam, also face challenges. There have been a lot of reports of surveillance, arrest, and harassment of Christians, as well as restrictions on their religious activities, including church closures. Similarly, the small Jewish community in Iran has faced restrictions and occasional instances of harassment. The Baha'i community is a primary target of religious persecution in Iran. Baha'i are viewed as heretics and face systematic discrimination and persecutions. Since the Islamic Revolution in 1979, the Iranian authorities have targeted Baha'is through various means, including harassment, arbitrary arrest, imprisonment, and even executions. Baha'i religious institutions and community properties have been confiscated, and Baha'i cemetery have been desecrated. Baha'is have been denied access to higher education and job opportunities, leading to economic and social marginalization. One of the most egregious aspects of the persecution is the denial of the basic civil rights to Baha'i. They are prohibited from practicing their faith openly and face restrictions on gathering for worship, organizing community activities, or maintaining administrative institutions. Baha'is are not recognized as an official religious minority in Iran, and their marriages and divorces are not recognized by the government. The Iranian government has also disseminated anti-Baha'i propaganda, portraying Baha'i as agents of foreign powers and enemies of the states. These have contributed to an hostile environment for Baha'is, leading to social discrimination, harassment, and acts of violence by extremist groups. This last 18th of June, I attended a conference here in Brussels to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the execution of 10 Baha'i women in Shiraz. On 10th of June 1983, 10 Baha'i women were executed because they believe in a faith that promotes gender equality, united justice, and truthfulness. The women were hanged one by one in a death of night, each forced to witness the next woman's death in a harrowing attempt to coerce them into renouncing their belief. None did so. One was only 17, where most were in their 20s. Their families were not even notified of their death. Their bodies were not returned to their families, and they did not receive dignified burials with religious rites. It is believed that they were buried in a Baha'i cemetery in Shiraz, but by the authorities, which was later demolished and made into a cultural and sport building in 2014. It is unacceptable that today the situation of the Baha'is in Iran has remained the same and that this community is still subject to extreme persecutions. It is why the Baha'i international community is launching a global campaign called Our Story is One to honor the executed women and the long struggle for gender equality led by women of all faiths and backgrounds in Iran for many decades. Among the religious minorities that are severely persecuted in Iran, there is the Ahmadi religion of peace and light community, whose concern it will be raising today. Members of the Ahmadiyya religion of peace and light in Iran under severe state-sponsored religious persecution. They are unable to freely practice their faith and live in constant fear of their safety and lives. The Iranian authorities label them as heretic and infidels, branding their religion as a misguided movement and hostile and deviant groups. The Ahmadi religion of peace and light has also faced vilification due to its accepting stance toward LGBT members and its belief that the headscarf is not obligatory for women. As a result, since 2019, the Iranian regime has conducted raids on the homes of the members, subjecting them to assault in front of their families, arrest and threats of execution if they continue practicing their faith. Charges such as insulting the leadership and opposition to the principle of the system are used against them. In 2022, 15 members were taken to the Evin prison of Iran after a number of them has unsuccessfully tried to flee the country to escape death threats and religious persecution. In jail, the members were forced to sing pilgrims to renounce to their faith and defend the religion and its leader, and they were threatened with execution if they don't cooperate with the Iranian regime. 3 of the 15 were minors, 2 were women, and one of them was persecuted additionally because of his sexual orientation. The Ahmadi religion of peace and light is deeply concerned for the safety and the life of its members who are denied the most basic human rights to practice their faith freely. Its Iranian members were forced to flee to other countries, such as Turkey, where they continue to face persecution, detention, and deportation, orders to return them to Iran, where execution is taking fate. This issue has just been raised just yesterday by the UN Special Rapporteur on Religious Freedom, the Special Rapporteur on the Human Rights of Migrants, and the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention and the UN Rapporteur of Minority Issue. They urge Turkey to invalidate deportation orders and provide its members with international protection, enabling them to seek asylum and freely practice their faith without fear. In conclusion, dealing with minorities in a just and inclusive manner is an important aspect of any society. Iran, for its own benefit, must work towards better treatment of its minorities. Iran must ensure that the rights of minorities are protected by enacting legislation that guarantees equal treatment, non-discrimination, and religious freedom for all citizens, regardless of their religious or ethnic background. Iran must recognize and acknowledge the existence and contribution of ethnic minority groups like the Iranian Azeris. Iran must support and facilitate the preservation and promotion of the cultural heritage, languages, and tradition of minorities communities. It is high time that Iran put an end to systematic discrimination and persecution of minorities. It is high time that Iran listened to the voice from around the world imploring it to comply with the universal principles of respect of human rights and dignity for all Iranians, and that the persecution, discrimination, and barbaric behavior of another age cease, so that this great country with a rich and glorious history can once again become a magnificent era. Thank you.